I'm life and business coach Samantha Sifring, and this is the Online Business Building Mamas podcast, where you learn how to build a wildly successful business from home while raising kids.
Hello, everyone. I have a super fun episode for you today. So I recently was talking to my life coach about how I think about pictures of myself. I recently had like hundreds of pictures taken at the last Simple Scaling Mastermind event. We have a photographer, Janae, that we fly out to all of our events, and it was like hundreds and hundreds of photos. I think she said like 700 or 900 or something equally over the top. And we have to decide on which photos we're going to choose. And I'm having my team just do all of it for me. I was talking to my life coach about it, and she was pretty surprised at how I think about pictures of myself. And this has happened to me before. Like if I've taken photos with friends and like, you know, when you take a picture with friends and like everybody looks at it to like see, do they like how they look in the picture, that kind of thing. And over the past few years, I've had such a big shift in how I look at pictures of myself. And my life coach was like, you have to teach this. You have to tell people about how you think about it, and make sure that other people are hearing this, because it is really unique and really helpful. So here's the context of this. I think for me, the reason that I've had such a big shift in how I look at pictures of myself is because my relationship with myself has changed so much. And I think that this is something that I don't really see other business coaches talking about, but I think it is some of the most important work that I'm doing with my clients. Like, yeah, they love my business strategy opinions, and I really simplify like the steps that you take to grow a business so that it's really doable as a mom or as somebody with a really full plate of other things. Like I make that very easy to do and accessible for people who have more going on than just their business. So of course, all of that is valuable, but I think that the work that my clients do on their relationship with themselves is the thing that makes the biggest difference in their success and in how much money they make and how much they enjoy their business and just their overall experience of their life. So it is why I talk about confidence and self-trust and your relationship with yourself so much. And it's part of why I'm doing this episode, because I think this is just another way that you get a glimpse into the relationship that you have with yourself. So I want you to think about this. I want you to think about how you feel when you look at photos of yourself. Like what comes up for you? What are your thoughts? What are your feelings? And then how you feel when you look at photos of people you love. So maybe your kids, maybe your best friend, maybe your partner, your parents, like people that you love. What are the differences between how you see photos of them versus how you see photos of yourself? So recently, actually, it was during the Simple Scaling Mastermind event. One of my clients, who's also a friend of mine, she also did a photo shoot with my photographer. And I saw the photos that they took. And this friend of mine is like quirky and fun and like has a very like animated face. And I just absolutely loved and adored her photos. Like even the very worst ones were like her eyes were opened different amounts, or like her mouth was in a funny way, or like she was like caught off guard or mid-sentence or something. Like I loved them all. And like some of the weird ones, I was like, oh my gosh, you have to get that one. Like you have to use that one in your marketing or on your website, because it was just so real. Like I think that like traditionally, maybe it would be seen as like not a professional photo or whatever because she didn't look perfect. But I felt like she looked perfect for her people. Like she looked perfect for her message, for her business, for her people, for like what they need to get from the photo. Like sometimes I think about this, like what maybe is like the photo that I would prefer to put out there where I am looking what I think is my best is maybe not the photo that serves my clients most. Maybe the photo that serves my clients most is the one where I don't look perfect, where it is a little off, because then it is so much easier for somebody to look at it and see themselves, because we know all of our own imperfections. And when we see other people, it's so easy to perceive them as perfect and then to like other ourselves as, well, we can't be successful because we're not perfect like that person. So I think it is so valuable for us to put out stuff that's just real. That's just our real self. That's not super polished and perfect and all of those things. So anyway, that felt like a little bit of a tangent, but what I was getting at is like looking at photos of people you love versus pictures of yourself. So I was looking at these photos of my friend and I was like delighted by every single photo. I thought they were all amazing for all different reasons. Like some of them, she looked like an influencer model and I was like, wow, that is beautiful. And then some of them I was like, this is just so real and so like yes to me. So like magnetic, you have to use that. And then some were just like not good. And I loved those too because I was like, this is just real and this is just you and it's fun to see. So this is how I interpret photos of my friend. In the past, I would look at photos of me and like, let's think about back to like photos of my friend. I was looking for something to love in every single one. And in the past, I would look at photos of me and I would look for something to hate. And I think that you can all relate to this, that when you look at photos of yourself, it's so easy to ignore any of the things you could love. Like you were looking in each photo for a flaw. That is what we are doing. I think that's like our natural inclination as women in 2022. We are looking at photos of ourselves, specifically looking for things to hate, looking for flaws, looking for things that are wrong. That is what we are doing. And so I want to offer to you that while this is your programming, like I'm not going to be out here being like, you're wrong for doing that. Like you're programmed to do that by society. Like that is how your brain is wired to interpret photos of yourself. So you're not wrong for doing that. You're literally just doing the programming that you have. So you don't need to feel bad about the fact that that's what you do. But I want to offer to you that you could start to shift this. You could start to think differently when your brain offers up, here's the thing to hate about yourself in this photo. You could start to look differently at it. So here is how I have been looking at photos of myself for the past couple years. I don't really know when this shift officially happened. It's been like a gradual thing that I have been working on. But now when I see photos of myself that are maybe not my favorites, you know what I think? I think, well, that's what I look like. And my thought process is, if a camera captured me looking like this, then the people that I love, the people that I spend time with who like and love me, they have seen me look like this. It's not like the camera magically made me look like this. Like I must look like this to people sometimes. And those people still like and love me. People see me looking like that and they still accept me, they love me, they like me. So maybe looking that way is not a problem. This to me feels now just like the truth. Like in every photo, well, I guess that's what I look like. And it doesn't always mean that I'm like, oh yeah, I love when one of my eyes is like half closed and the other one's fully open. For some reason, that is what my eyes love to do. Doesn't mean that I love that. It doesn't mean that I love like when my head tips back and the photo is like directly up my nose. I don't necessarily have to love that, but what I do see when I look at that is like, okay, I guess that is what I look like some of the time, and people still love, like, accept me. And it just helps take away any shame or like bad feelings about it. It's like in that moment, I am able to love, like, and accept myself, even doing the weird things that sometimes I do. It doesn't mean that I don't have preferences of how I like to look in photos. It doesn't mean that I don't have favorite photos of myself. Obviously, I do. But it helps me with any other kind of photo. And now, like, when I take group photos with other people, it's just like, you can decide. Whatever one you choose is fine. The way that I look in all of those photos is the way that I actually look. For sure, I prefer when my eyes are open, but choose the one that you like. And it just feels so much better. And I think it's kind of like, hey, when I'm just walking out in the world, people see me looking like that. So it's not the end of the world if they're seeing a photo of me looking like that. Like, it's just like an accurate depiction of like one of the many ways I can look. For me, this feels so much better than trying to like love certain things about myself that maybe I don't. Like, I have loose skin on my stomach from being super pregnant. I have cellulite on my butt and thighs. Like, I don't know that I'm ever going to love those things. I have stretch mark scars that are like silvery. And I always see these things being like, these are my mama tiger stripes or whatever. I don't know. I feel like you've probably heard these things too. None of this stuff resonates with me at all. It's like, no, I would definitely prefer to have no cellulite, no stretch marks, and no loose, stretchy skin that hangs. I would definitely prefer not to have those things. I don't love them, but I also accept that they are there, and I like and love me, and I like and love my body in general. And to me, I think that feels so much better, as well as like going back to this idea of looking at the pictures of yourself and picking out things to hate, like nitpicking. Something that really helped me get to this place with photos is when I look in the mirror, instead of looking for things to pick apart and hate, which again, is how we're wired, looking for something to love or admire. And I want to offer that exercise to all of you as well. Like, when you look in the mirror, can you find things to love and admire about yourself? So even if there's also things that you don't love and admire, can you find things that you do? And now my experience, for the most part, when I look in the mirror, is looking at things that I love and admire. Yeah, there's things that I don't love and admire. When I look in the mirror, I just don't spend a lot of time focused on them. I spend my time focused on the things that I do love and admire, and it just feels better. And I'm in favor of just doing something just because it feels better, for sure. So I want to offer that to all of you. And final thought, something that has been really helpful for me and something that I have suggested to friends and that kind of thing is to think about the compliments you get. So specifically for me, it was compliments and like attention from my husband. Like, what are his thoughts about my body and the way that I look? He is a fan. And even though there's things that I think are not perfect or not the way that I wish they were, he perceives my body as extremely sexy and desirable. And that is really helpful and useful to me. That's such a great thing that I can think about, that I can focus on. Like anytime I want to tear myself apart or anytime I'm just unsure, it's so helpful for me to be like, no, I have this person who thinks that my body is very sexy, so it just must be. Like his perception of my body is probably more accurate than mine. And I think, if you have a partner, if you have a friend who gives you compliments, right? Like if you have a child, your child who tells you that you're beautiful. Like I think that we all have these times where somebody like admires us or is attracted to us or finds us beautiful or sexy, and we immediately brush that off. Like it's like it bounces right off of us. We don't even let it come in. So I want to encourage you to start to let that in. Now, if there's somebody in your life who's like making mean comments about your body, like no. Never let that in. That is trash. And I really question why this person is in your life. But the people who are in your life, if you have them, who make these kinds of comments that are really like flattering and like build you up and make you feel great, I want you to start to let those in. I want you to start to see yourself that way. I want you to experiment with, okay, my daughter said that I'm beautiful. I'm going to look in the mirror and like see what she sees. My partner said that I am hot. I'm going to look in the mirror and see if I can see what they see. I want you to experiment with that. I want you to have fun with that. And really use all of this to start to deepen your relationship with yourself. We're so programmed to hate ourselves, specifically our outward appearance. And I think instead of only focusing on the inside, it's also important for us to start to deprogram ourselves from hating what we look like on the outside. So I want you to play with this. I want to hear how it goes. I want to hear your wins. If you are posting a photo where that's just what you look like, I want you to tell me, tag me. Like I want to celebrate all of this with you, every step that you're taking towards having a deeper and more loving and accepting relationship with yourself. I want to be there with you, cheering you on. So tag me on Instagram at SamanthaHMS. Share these things with me. I love to celebrate with all of you when you're making wins in this area. All right, I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. If you like this podcast, I want to invite you to coach with me over in my program, Mama to CEO. There's you, and there's the consistent income you want to make in your business, and I help you remove everything standing in between. It's lifetime access for mastering your marketing, sales, time, and everything else you need to have the business and life you really want. Whether it's making your first 1,000 or 100,000, I can help you do it. To join, go to mamatoceo.com, MAMATOCEO.com.